laughed at.
But it did do it in the next 6 months.
4 weeks later, when it happened, you said I was a prophet. Now, I'm coming back to give you this one right now also. Mr. Fromm said, our currency. Our currency. He stressed so much what their currency is. Their currency is gold and silver. Never in the history of the world, look this up for yourself, and I must be very positive about this because of what they told me. Never in the history of the world has gold and silver ever gone to zero. You show me any time from Adam until today that the one thing that God put
Sure,
on
well,
the
it's
earth
even in industrial metals used everywhere. I'm not saying I agree with the guy that they can take it to zero. They can sure manipulate it up and down, but every time they artificially manipulate down, it only makes it bounce back up. But specifically about hiding guns, gold, silver, yes, it is good to do that. It certainly is good to do that.
I'll guarantee you one thing. If you hide your paper currency, your Federal Reserve notes between your mattress, after the day after the devaluation, it's going to be worth 40% less than what it is, what it was on Friday when they closed the banks. But if you've got gold and silver hidden someplace around the house there, I guarantee you, you mark my words, you're going to call me a prophet after it happens and wish to goodness you'd listen to what the elite have told me. I'm just telling you what they've told me, folks. That's all I can do. It will be worth 40% more than it was on Friday when the banks closed after the devaluation, and you cannot depend on it unless it is tangible.
All right, back in 1 minute. We're going to do 5 more minutes with Lindsey Williams, and we're going to hurry through some quick questions from Sean and Roy and Justin and Mark and others. But just we'll get your question and get a quick answer from Lindsey on the other side. We'll be right back. Final segment with Lindsey Williams. I want to go to calls. Just in a quick answer. What about your elitist sources priming the pump with good info to sucker punch everybody down the road with disinfo? Are you ever worried about that, Lindsey?
I would be if it had ever happened in 35 years' time. Now, keep in mind, the one person right now that gives me more information than anything else has been a very close personal friend, an ally, his entire family, his wife, his children, all of them I know personally. I've been with them. I've been in their home. Never in one time in 35 years have they given me any disinformation, and they're not going to start now. I'll tell you why. Because they're in their 70s and 80s, these people are. They know they're facing eternity. They know they're going to have to...
No, I hear what you're saying. Great answer. I believe you. Let's go to Roy in New York. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello, Roy. Come on down.
Alex, Lindsey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm calling deep within the confines of FEMA Region 2, and I wanted to Lindsey, not to be discouraged. A lot of people are awake, and even though some of them aren't Christians, they are deeply spiritual, and I'm one of them, and I do have a standing relationship with my Creator. But evil will never prevail, not in this lifetime or any lifetime coming after us. So people need to not be fearful. They need to be confident. They need to wake people up around them and do everything they can. Get storable food, get ammo, get all those things.
But more importantly, wake up and reach out to people. And a lot of people say, Alex, you're real paranoid. No, I'm not. I'm aware of history, and I'm out there out front. I know we can beat these people, Roy. Do you have any questions for Lindsey?
No, I'm just happy to hear Lindsey Williams back on your show. Every time he does, I tune in, and I thank you both for your work.
Well, thank you, Roy. Let's go to Justin in Minnesota. You're on the air with Lindsey Williams. You got a question?
Yes, I do. Basically, I'm a Catholic, and my church has pretty much been, I don't know, it seems like playing the New World game, asking for World Bank and whatnot. I just like to ask Lindsey one thing, what he thinks about the hierarchy of the church, because I have tons of people in my community, in my church community, who are awake but are afraid to speak out because of group consensus about, the Vatican asking for a World Bank. And
yeah, what about the Vatican calling for a World Bank and all this stuff, Lindsey?
The elite have never been willing to talk to me about certain things, and one of them is the Vatican. Now, I have personal opinions, but those don't weigh at all because you can't depend on what I think in my mind. But whenever these people give me something, I'll say they have never been willing to go into the subject of the Vatican.
Anything else you'd like to add there, sir?
Yes, actually, I have two really important comments to make because I've waited so long to get onto the show. I'd like to point out that MIT's open courseware, they're teaching things like how to stage a revolution, and the quote underneath the heading is from Mao Zedong, dated 1927, and the funny thing, or sad thing I should say, is it says how to stage a revolution, and it shows 4 men to the left with a flag, and 3 men and a guillotine to the right.
Yeah, let me stop you. Send me that. Email that right now to showtips@infowars.com. I have that in the article. The Egyptians have arrested a bunch of State Department front liberal groups who claim they want democracy, but everywhere they go, they try to bring tyranny. And the government, the illegitimate government, is creating its own little commissariat, enforcer system for their fake revolution, and it's totally seditious and evil. But where do people find that from? Because I know the universities are training for revolution against freedom, an engine of pure evil, but how do you find that?
You go to MIT or ocw.mit.edu and go under the humanities, social studies, look under the heading history. And, I mean, this is full courseware, so this is their whole course.
I'll tell you what, send it to me right now. Send it to me right now. All right, we are doing a 4th hour of special transmission today. Coming up at the start of the next hour, Gary Franchi, who runs a big Ron Paul super PAC of Restore the Republic, is another one of the groups he created. Really kicked things off, of course, working with Aaron Russo, does a great job. He has put out a bunch of really well-produced TV ads that are as good as anything I've seen the actual campaign put out. And so it just shows the power of the grassroots. He's going to be joining us then to look at some breaking economic news that Max Keiser says he's breaking here. He'll be on with us in the last 30 minutes. And you're like, last 30 minutes? Yes, we're doing a 4th hour today. But people like Barbara listening on 1630 AM KKGM, we're going to get to you this hour. You may have called in to talk to Williams, but we couldn't get to everybody, so you'll get to ask your question to myself, Bob Chapman, you name it, Robert, Justin, Barbara, Mark, Sean. In fact, Sean's first up when we do go to the calls coming up. But during this hour, too, with Bob, we can go over a lot of different news and get Bob's take on it and your take as well. But I promise we will start going to your calls at 24 after. We'll go to them very quickly and intersperse news with that. Again, if you missed what Lindsey Williams was covering, if you want to get his DVD set, breaking all this down, it's prophecyclub.com or 888-799-6111. Also, if you want to support what we're doing, you can go to Infowars.com and get all 18 of my films, Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA. That looks completely crazy if you're watching us on the internet, because they keep showing video shots. If you're on the radio, you can't see it, obviously, of the Cobra staff. By the way, that makes me think of, we're going to Bob here in a minute. That makes me think of the report that was in the news of the guy getting arrested at the airport for the cane knife. And Rob Dew, who was visiting in-laws, I guess, in South Carolina, he came in today, and he goes, yeah, I saw that. I have video of it, of a kind of hip-hop dressed guy who tried to go through with a cane with a knife in it. And he got through the first time through the TSA, and then went outside to smoke a cigarette and came back in, and that's what Rob Dew actually caught on tape. So we're going to play that on the nightly news tonight and do a blurb at Infowars.com on that subject. But I just digressed completely because they cut to a shot over there of my 18 films. I don't think that's all of them there, that you get for 70+% off for the Everything Special. And it's a great way to wake your friends and family up and support our transmission. And you can see this. This is a Cobra Commander staff, because I've joked around and talked about our government behaving like the villainous Cobra Commander. Someone mailed me a complete Cobra Commander mask, suit. The problem is that it looks like it's for a child, so obviously I can't put it on, or a teenager. But we have the entire Cobra Commander get-up now here at the office. It came in on Monday, And this stuff has been laying around in here since I've been, had it. And the crew keeps cutting to it with no description of why. And I saw some comment on the web of, look, they're secretly showing cobras subliminally. No, it's not subliminally. I'm holding a cobra staff here in my hand. Hail, Cobra! Everyone will now accept Globo New World Order currency. World government is good. Of course, the same voice of Cobra Commander is also the voice of Starscream. I'm going to be the leader, Megatron, not you. Okay, we've got to have some comic relief here at the end of the show. And if you didn't watch the Transformers back in the 1980s, well, then you don't know what I'm talking about. I can actually do a Optimus Prime voice. Did you know that? Think I should do it right now for people? I can actually do it almost perfectly. Almost like a John Wayne voice. Well, if you haven't heard the Optimus Prime voice, it's almost the Optimus Prime voice in those promos I run, waking folks up saying, we take the info war now to the next level. But I've got to, kind of focus to get into that mode. Do what? Oh, okay. They were just saying that Chapman's probably pouring himself another martini. But Chapman doesn't drink. That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize to Bob Chapman. The point is, if you want to support us, we got 15-day free trials at prisonplanet.tv right now to try out the nightly news and all the rest of it. And if you do get the everything special, we do include a citizen rule book that's contraband, pro-America, anti-tyranny literature. And the Cobra Commander Golden Staff is not included. I'm sorry, but it's not included. But InfoWars bumper stickers are. Bob Chapman, can you believe that 2011 has almost elapsed?
Yes, I can, because I'm getting older and I can feel it.
I tell you, I always heard my grandparents, people talk about how time speeds up, but now it's I don't think it's just that I'm getting older. I think the world is speeding up, Bob.
It's like rocket time. You just pull one page after another off the calendar, and you said, where did it all go?
Well, Cobra Commander took it over.
Probably.
Our ruling class is like a cartoon villain. I mean, aren't they, Bob?
They certainly are, but it's not cartoon, unfortunately. I give you a good example. The coverage in Europe is about 35%. In the United States, it's non-existent. I'm talking about the European Union and the European Eurozone and their problems financially. You have 6 nations who are underwater, and you've got all sorts of rules that prohibit the funneling of money into one project or another, whether it's a bank or a country or an industry or a whole country itself. What has happened, and the people don't understand this, and this is why I'm explaining it. Through swap agreements, the Federal Reserve has given the European Central Bank a $1 trillion line of credit. Now, they did it through a swap, because technically it's not a loan. If you noticed 2 weeks ago, Mr. Bernanke says, well, we can't give them a loan because that would be against the regulations.
Yeah, Osama bin Bernanke got caught lying. They are giving loans to the European banks at 0%.
But this is how they're doing it, and they don't explain it in full. So the money gets transferred in a swap agreement, dollars, to the European Central Bank, which in turn digitally returns them euros. So that means that they're not borrowing money in the European Central Bank from local entities. They're getting a loan from the Federal Reserve. So they circumvent the law as well. Now, Germany made a secret, although legal, contribution, if you may, to the European Central Bank about 2 weeks ago they didn't tell anybody about. And so between the two of them, they get $1.6 trillion, of which 523 banks have already taken in almost $600 billion. And they turn around and they send the money back to the European Central Bank and say, would you hold this for us until we need it? The main thing they're going to do with that money is to roll the debt that they've got out there. And some of it's colossal. It's too much to go into in this segment of the program.
But I remember you 3-4 years ago saying the euro would implode, and nobody was saying that. So they're certainly doing it. Now, I understand you want to get into all the technicals of this, and it's interesting, Bob, but separately, well, go ahead and finish your point, but I want to get into Ron Paul.
The point is the U.S.